Hi, hello everyone. My name is Nagaraju Boddu. I go by Naga. I carry 2 decades of experience and Oracle applications, and for the past 1 decade, I'm in US working for the various clients within the US. So I worked for the various implementation projects support across the various clients in US. In addition to the US, I have an experience overseas meaning UAE, Singapore, Australia, various countries have worked with the various versions of Oracle. So I've been around the world implementing various versions of Oracle across the globe. Um, Now, the idea of this video is to give a little introduction about me as well as my leadership skills. So this gives how am I going to handle as a leader to the team as well as to the project I'm working. So I have worked with the various client bases as well as the on-site and offshore models. So I'll try to, show some questions and try to answer it, in which by which I'll be able to showcase my leadership skills. So this video is to give a little introduction so that it will be useful for my career as well as the in upcoming future employers too. So I'll go slide by slide now. So just bear with me for a few minutes. Yeah. So the first question is, can you tell me about when you demonstrated the leadership skills? So the leadership skills generally comes in when we are with the right people at the right time. Now, mm, when the people are working well, the team is working well, then I would say leadership is not needed. The supervision is not needed. They go by they will manage by own. They can day in and out. They come, they satisfy the business or the customers, and they go home. Now, the actual leadership comes in or the pitches in when the team is not able to get a right feedback from the business. So the step one is take a feedback from the business and identify the list of things where the business is lacking or where the satisfaction of the business is lacking, and jot it down and identify the scope of improvement within the team, and put it as a part of a training program. So with this training programs, it will improve the skills of the team. So the improvement of the skills within the team is the improvement of the leadership skills. When the team improves, then everything improves, right? So it's like a team achievement is a leader achievement. So always as a leader, I will look at the achieving the skills of my team. So that will give the actual demonstrating capabilities of the leader. So skills of the team is equal to skill of the leader. So always go by leave and let leave policy. So always I look at the skills of the business, skills of the team, and with which the satisfaction of the business is counts a lot. So that is the way I look at it. The next point is, how do you monitor the performance of the people that you lead? Again, the as a lead, we will take a feedback. Feedback is important. Every time we do some work, take a feedback from the customer or the business, and that feedback needs to be passed to the respective team members, so that they see the scope of improvement. The scope of improvement, I mean, There can be some people who will not take it, that they'll only take positive things but not negative. But we need to put the negative in the positive sense. Say, for example, if a person is not doing well, then I don't say directly go and say, hey guys, you're not doing well. Don't say that. So instead use, you're good but you can be better. So you need to improve on A, B, C. These things you need to improve on, then he'll be able to take it up. So always go by positive to positive approach. If we go by negative to positive approach, the people will not accept. So that is the way we can improve the performance by positive to positive attitude. The positive attitude of the lead is important to take it further. So this is the way I look at the performance of the people and try to improve that. The next point is, are you able to delegate the responsibility efficiently? Now, delegating responsibilities is not an easy task. So before we delegate anything to the any team member, I will look at what are the skill set. The skill set is important. The biggest skill set for any particular personality is the attitude. The attitude of taking, yes, I can do it, is the first thing to delegate the things. Now, um, there can be certain situations even the skill set does not matter, attitude matter. So if the skill set is lacking, we can, there are some quick learners who will take it and do it, and there can be some moderate learners and there can be a slow learner. For slow and moderate learners, they need the supervision as well as the backup. So there is where if the attitude is good and they are moderate and the low learners, so we need to back them up, and that is the way we should look at each particular personality before we delegate. And for those personalities who are moderate and low learners, then we should be backing up and looking at the performance as well as the how we can improve their efficiency. The real efficiency of the manager is with the moderate and low learners. So we need to take it further, and that is the way we delegate it, and we make it right attitude with the right efficiency, so that it will be a satisfaction of the business as well as the satisfaction of the individual as a team member. The success of the business, success of the individual or the team is the success of the manager. So that is the way I look at it. Okay. Now, next thing is, how do you describe your leadership style? Now, the leadership style is, I would say, um, uh, a right attitude of an individual that helps to the team. So when I am helpful to the team as a part of a execution of the day-to-day activities, then I'm a good leader. So my my leadership should always look at a business process improvement. So I should help in such a way that I should see what the team is doing, and with that, and whatever the day-to-day activities they are doing, and I should be observing that, and I should give a suggestions to the team saying that, okay, there is a scope of improvement. Let's say the person is doing the manual work where there is a possibility of the automation or the kind of a easy way of doing a job, right? So that is giving a suggestion to the such a team member, which improves the time and the labor factor over there, or which improves the, which gives the dollar value to the business. So that gives us the satisfaction as a leader. So that is the way our leadership style will be coming to existence. Oh, yeah. Now the next point is, what can you do to motivate the people? Always motivating a people is by celebrating a small successes. Although it is a small success, if a simple feedback that gets from the business, always celebrate it. Give a kind of a circulate a kind of a pat on back, or a kind of a feedback email to the whole team saying that this is the achievement. That gives a motivation to all the team members. And whole, I mean, executing or motivating all the team members is, it gives a lot of much motivation to the leader as well. So motivation of the team is equal to the motivation of leader. So no leader wants to demotivate and get demotivated. So always try the team motivates, celebrate the small things. And of course we can celebrate the big things later, but the thing is, any small movement that needs to be celebrated gives so much satisfaction to the team, right? Next comes, what values are you important to you as a leader? The main value for me is attitude. Attitude is everything. So if the attitude is good, even the dumb person can be a skilled person, skilled team member. So if there is a lacking of the skill, if a person has a right attitude, then we can always encourage him, and that is the way the most of the individuals gets success. And they the people will not do the extraordinary things, they do the ordinary things in an extraordinary way. So the way they look at it, it's important. And the way that we need to look from an individual member is, each person has their own individuality. That individuality we need to respect it, and like give him the tools that needed to execute his day-to-day job. That gives so much satisfaction as a leader too, right? Now, are you able to collaborate with the other team and accept the new idea? Absolutely. So always about the taking collaboration within the team and taking the pros and cons. Let us say we have a certain problem to the business, and we will collaborate within the team and identify the pros and cons of each particular member's inputs. Now, if there is a big team, let's say 40 or 50 people, then we will take the inputs from and jot it down to the two or three categories. From two or three categories, we will jot down what are the pros and cons of it. And if the pros and cons are equally good or equally bad for the business, then we'll identify which is beneficial to the business, either in the form of improving the labor cost, or it improving the cost of improving the business, or a kind of a which gives the value to the business, or the dollar value, convert that to the dollar value. Even after converting the dollar value, if the value is equally important, equally best, then we'll go to the business and give the options which are good for them. In this way, they can look at the business lens rather than we as an IT. They look from the business sense and give us the inputs. So that is the way how we collaborate within the teams, and as well as goes to the business as well. Now, how do I handle the disagreements with the coworkers? This is one of the good points. So disagreement, see, any individual working under one roof will definitely have a disagreement. So all we need to do is sit on the table, identify what point the disagreement came to. Let us say, for example, we gave a certain solution, and that solution has a disagreement between the two co-workers. Now we need to sit with the two co-workers and identify what is good for next 5 years. So next 5 years, if the business is continuing as is, which is good, which is bad, then most of the things which is beneficial to the business will be identified. And see, every company grows, every client grows. So with the I mean, next 5 years or 10 years, what is the growth level? Based on whatever growth has happened for the past 5 years, we can foresee what is going to happen in next 5 years. Those 5 years, we need to identify, if the business base increases, then how my solution is going to impact the business, as well as the business relations to the external vendors or the customers. Now, in this way, we need to identify what are the pros and cons based on the 5 years to the future 5 years, as well as the pros and cons identification and putting forward. Basic thing, disagreements will be avoided by looking at the pros and cons. If the pros are good and the cons are less, then that is a good one. So in this way, sit on the table, discuss the pros and cons, then the disagreements will go. Now there can be a situation that the pros and cons are equally good, equally bad, then put forward to the management, because the management has to be involved. Because when everything is all right, when everything is static to the rules of the business and everything, the management needs to be involved. Then we can decide and go with the whatever solution is. In this way, disagreements can be avoided. Who is your favorite leader and why? I would say, see, the first person that comes to our mind, he is the favorite leader. For me, my dad is the favorite leader because he handles. I mean, I used to observe him, the way he used to handle any, the way, whether it is a personal or professional, how he used to handle, right from the elementary school of the call to the college, and from the work style he does, that makes me he is my favorite leader. So I mean, leader is not only the at a work level, also the personal personality, and how physical or mentally he's strong is, all this counts. So hence, I mean, since we observe our dad personally, professionally, mentally, physically. So he would be my favorite leader. Hmm. Thank you. Now, next, are you more comfortable with the verbal or the written communication? So I cannot say that verbal or written is a communication. So one, see, verbal or written is one of the means of the communication. I would say I am comfortable with the whatever um, the in-person communication, the way we speak. See, when we speak, our face, our eyes, our face feelings speaks a lot. So if we say yes and do like this, no and do like this, so that gives a lot of communications. I mean, what your intention is. So I would say verbal and written communications are one of the things I would agree. But reading the face is another kind of a communication, so that gives the more value than verbal and written. But I agree, the verbal communication is something, whatever is in your mind, that keeps on the paper or in the electronic way. Or written communication is something which we write an email. But I would say meeting a people, meeting a people and how they are reacting, and finding their attitude is a real communication for me. So that is the way I look at it. All right. So next one is, how do you respond to the criticism? Anywhere in the world, we need to get criticized. So criticism is one thing wherein which we'll get a lot of more ideas. So the more ideas, I mean, see, if someone says, criticizes with some particular words, then we should be able to identify those statements. Through those statements, we need to come back and identify the better solution. So always turn the negative to the positive. The response to the criticism is turn negativity to our positivity, which gives the tip to the better solution. So when we are creating something, or when we are giving a solution to the something, we may not be able to think in all directions. So the criticism is something which fixes the things before it goes to the external business or the customer. So I love criticism because that is where we'll handle it. We'll handle the bugs before it goes to the actual customer. I would love to take the criticisms, but we need to turn the criticism to the positivity. That's important. Can you tell me about the time when you have solved the problems for your employee and employer? Yes. So a lot of times business used to have a critical conditions. Let's say for example, I have worked for the GE project, where in which I have rolled the internet expenses across the globe. So the solution after moving to the 3 or 4 countries, on the fifth country, which is the largest country, has a problem of a database. So that database problem, I mean, generally, for rolling out the internet expenses, we need to create employee, supplier, and the internet expenses lines. So those lines which we are, when the expense report import program is run, the address that is going to the vendor, actually the employee supplier, is getting vanished away. So those, I mean, that is the basic business need problem that has been identified. So my team is struggling to identify what is the issue and all, but instead of struggling on what is the issue and how we became, let's think of the solutions where it is going wrong. So it is going wrong at the address level of employee, address level of an employee number. So what I've suggested is, since these two are blank, it's not working, let's put these two one particular same thing, same address kind of thing, because employee and the employee supplier will have the same, because the employee needs to be paid as a vendor, so employee vendor. So make those two addresses similar, so that makes us the that might fix the problem. So we have tested for one employee, so that worked. So when the expense report input program ran, it worked very well. Now what I've suggested is, when it is working for the one employee, let's test that for the bunch of employees, let's say 100 employees, because it might not work when when the bulk run is going on. So I suggested my team to run that expense report and make that things happen for 100 employees. So quickly, there are 10 to 15 team members, so altogether 10 particular expense report each. So 10 times 15 is 150 expense reports submitted and imported, and the report is coming well. Then we went back to the business, so saying that okay, this problem is solved by matching these two addresses. So in this way, when the problem is identified at a business level and the employees are in problem, we give the solution to the employees, so that they will give the appropriately, I execute that and provide it to the business. And that is how the leadership skills that comes and helps to the employees. So that's how we need to solve the problem of an employee, thinking from the shoe of the business, because the business is the investor, they pay us at the employees. And when they are struggling, we need to give a suggestion that could work, and make that tested for the uh, bulk number of employees. Then when it works fine, then the employees will get employee or employees will get satisfied, and the satisfaction goes back to the business, as well as the more business will come. In that way, we have rolled out all the 56 countries G Capital International Services. So that is the one of the things. So how we solve to the business. Now, how do you measure your own performance at work? Okay, this is the one of the um, good question. So the performance, I would see my performance as my team performance. When the team is doing good, that means the manager is doing good. As a leader, I'm doing good when the team is doing good. Now, feedback from the business, feedback from the each particular team member, that gives the more satisfaction as a leader. So I would measure my own performance as my team performance, as well as my business performance. When the business is performing well, that means the support to the business from my team is going well. So that is the way I look at it. Next comes, what strengths would you bring to the particular job? Okay, to answer this question, I would say, instead of giving the strengths, I'll give you one example. I went to the Abu Dhabi Aircraft Technologies project, where there were lot of problems, lot of problems. Then when the day one I went to the client place, the director came to me, see, the payables is not working, the receivables is not working, the reporting is not generated, the assets are not being properly depreciated. What do I do? Oh, I said, okay, tell me what are the top five problems. Okay, identify the top five problems, take them into the particular job. And now when we identify the top five problems, it should be in such a way that once we solve that, that should give you the business satisfaction and gain the confidence. Now when we get the top five problems, so we need to analyze and put it back to our team, saying that, okay, see, these are the top five problems, number one, two, three, four, five. To solve number one, two, three, who has a good expertise? The expertise that counts. Okay, so identify the right expertise within the team, and right person should be at a right time, so right job, so that the consequences or the upcoming situations will work very good. Now take the help of the team. Always see, every individual performance as the team performance. The team performance is ultimately the company's performance. Now circulate those problems within the team, within the company, internally, and identify the best solution that comes up. So take 2 3 days time from the customer, and so try to circulate that problem and get the best solution. See, every problem may be unique, but there can be some problems which can be circulated, and the taking into account the best practices that will be solved. Now when we take the best practices, always think about the solutions that you are given to the earlier customers, and that gives the much and satisfaction to the business once we come utilize your best practices. That is number one. Number two, uh, when the solution is in place, try to test that solution before you go to the customer. So whatever solution is there, try to test it yourself. Don't go to the customer and say that this works because it worked with some other client, because every client is unique, right? Every client has unique setups and unique configurations, as well as the customization. So always taking the best practices, testing get that tested with the team in our local instance. Then once it is solved, go back to that. Out of the five problems, if you are able to solve the two problems, then you will gain the confidence. That gives the strength to our job, what we are doing. And we can say, see, our team has solved it, so we are capable of solving it. So not all the five problems need to be solved. Even you solve the two problems, at least you will get the confidence. Gaining the confidence is important. So that is the way I look at it, and that is the way I look at the problem of the business as my own problem, and take the best practices and put it in the local instance and get that solved, right? Okay, the next one is, what changes would you seek to make if you are work here? Okay. So the best change that needs to be worked here is that which is not being implemented in near past time they have not worked on. Now the changes would be like, see, if the particular individual or the particular stream of a line member is working on a same line for the past, let's say, for the past 5 years, same work. Now we should be able to cross skill the people, right? Let's say a person is working on a payable save, person is working on a receivable save, person is working on the reporting. Now, when continuously working on a same thing would not fetch. I mean, they might feel bored, or they kind of okay, it's the same kind of duty I'm doing. Even today I'm doing the same thing now. So what I would suggest is cross train the people. So it will involve, I mean, 2 3 hours extra, but we can reduce that from the daily routines and put them in a cross training. So that cross training within the team members will gain the enthusiasm, and it will be a change as a process of whatever doing on their routines. And the the morale levels will also increase. So in that way, the change to the each individual member will increase the efficiency. So that's the way I look at it. Hmm. So those are the few questions. I mean, if you have any more questions, then maybe you can reach out to me on this phone number as well as the email ID, right? So the idea of this video is to and make you understand how my leadership skill works, and what are the things I do to solve the major problems, as well as um, the business I've been worked to. So yeah, any additional questions you can call me. But yeah, so take this video as a initial interview. So then if you have a subsequent things, then we can talk and finalize the things. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.